What's up, guys? So I've taken you through a couple of real-time hits in the last couple days, and I thought that today might be a nice day to do some active recovery, foam rolling, light stretching, just moving my body. My TFL feels like complete dog shit after yesterday's workout. It was probably the elevated hip extension to side knee tuck that got it, because I haven't done movements like that in a really long time. So my TFL was just like, oh, and then today it's just like, argh. So I'm just gonna take you through what a typical active recovery session looks like for me. They're not long. I spend probably 2 minutes of foam rolling, a couple of minutes of stretching, and then call it a day. I don't get too involved with yoga flows and sequences, even though that's kind of cool sometimes, but I don't get too involved in all that stuff. So I'm gonna start by foam rolling the tightest stuff, and I'm gonna work up into the painful stuff. So I'm gonna start with my quads, which is a pretty standard thing for me. I feel like my quads always need a little love, and I'm going 2 minutes. So whenever I'm foam rolling, I will do about 2 minutes per muscle group, whatever that is. Really, no matter the size. Like, I probably could go a little bit less time on the smaller muscle groups, but I kind of love to give even amounts of love to every muscle group. I can really feel some gnarly shit in there. My quads must have caught hell also doing those weighted jump squats, but it feels pretty good, honestly, just getting a little pressure on my quads. If you tend to wake up with like sore knees, or you have sore knees after long walks, or you just have achy knees, chances are good it's gonna come from your quads. So your quadriceps run essentially from your iliac crest, or your hip bone, the thing that holds your pants up, all the way down to the other side of your knee. So on your shin, via the quadriceps and patellar tendons. So if your quads are tight, specifically your rectus femoris is really tight, it will cause your knees to ache, and you'll often complain about knee pain. And so I like to keep my quads nice and loose. I stretch them regularly, I roll them regularly, and they never feel particularly great when I'm rolling them out. But you see I'm going real slow, and I'm just working my way across the muscle. If I were doing this on like an intentional, let's loosen up the quads day, I might actually take like 5 minutes on the muscle. As long as I'm not getting ready to work out, I might take like 5 minutes on the muscle, and I will stop and do some trigger point therapy with the foam roller, which you can feel the spots that need trigger point therapy. For me, it's like right above the knee, and then about 2/3 of the way up the leg. So I got 3 seconds left on this side, beep, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and switch. So my left leg actually got hit a little bit worse. I noticed as I was going back in my videos that I was really leaning on that left side a little bit harder. I had a little bit of hip shift going on, which leads me to believe that jump squats with my sandbag might be a little bit too much weight for me right now. Or I just need to slow it down and pay a little more attention. Oh, this is shit. But this is me loving myself, right? So you've got to take care of yourself after you have these really just legit brutal workouts. Otherwise, you're going to break to pieces in no time at all. You're going to regret ever doing workouts in the first place. And so this is part of what I preach is corrective exercise. It's as much building yourself up as it is breaking yourself back down again. So this is doing a lot for my future self, and it might not be burning a ton of calories, but it's ensuring that I'm in good shape to continue working out. Beyond this initial muscle soreness. If my 20-year-old self had listened to me now, maybe I wouldn't be having to foam roll every other day, every week of my entire life. But, whatever. You live, you learn, it's fine. Oh, this is a lot. This is This is especially grimy right up there where my TFL kind of runs in a little bit. Ah, top of my quad. Fucking hip flexors. Ah. That's a lot. You know, some people will foam roll with their lacrosse ball, or, well, SMR with their lacrosse ball on their quads. Props to those that can do that, because not me. That shit would be so painful. All right, so now that I've foam rolled out my quads, hopefully you're along for the ride, I don't know. I'm gonna do just a light quad stretch. So this is a kneeling quad stretch. I'm gonna hold it again for 2 minutes. I'm gonna first lean forward into the leg. So I'm sitting on my heel. If you wanna see me from the side, I'm sitting on my heel. I'm leaning into the leg. So I'm just stretching out the meat of the quad, and I'm not incorporating the upper portion as much. I just wanna push my body weight down into the muscle tissue. After about 30 seconds or 45 seconds, I'm gonna lean back and I'm gonna start hitting the hip flexor portion. So the rectus femoris and the upper tendon, even into the TFL a little bit. And it's been about 35 seconds. I feel that this leg's pretty good already. So I'm gonna go ahead and lean back a little bit. And now you can see where the hip flexor portion of this comes in. The stretch gets a lot more intense. I get a lot more of the upper leg straight through down the rectus femoris. This is almost like a reclining hero pose, like a single leg reclining hero or something. I've just played around with it enough. I thoroughly enjoy it. I don't feel like it overwhelms me. You never want to do any stretch that feels more than like a 5 or 6 out of 10 for pain. Otherwise, your nervous system gets a little bit too involved and you wind up tensing up again. And so if you're wincing and screaming on the ground, you're probably not stretching much of shit. You're tightening back up again, and you're not doing yourself any favors. You're just wasting time and torturing yourself for no reason. So hold stretches that actually feel good, not stretches that feel like shit. Nothing that feels like you're about to rip a leg off or something like that. Oh, man, that workout yesterday really just got me good. It had my number. I don't ever like being this sore, just because I feel like it puts an exclamation point on my work capacity. So it just means like, oh, well, you obviously far exceeded your capacity. Maybe that wasn't a good idea. So that was 2 minutes. Go ahead and switch legs. So again, you're lining up the toes of the front foot with the knee of the leg that you're stretching. Just dig down, press your butt cheek into the heel of the other leg. And you also might feel a little bit of a stretch in your low back too. I'm feeling that right now. My QL on my left side, on my right side, even though I'm stretching my left leg out, I feel it just a little bit because I've got hip drop on that side. So my hips are a little unlevel right now, which is probably a good thing because my right QL is often sore. I feel like it's just my more dysfunctional side. I've got a little bit of scoliosis that engenders that tight QL on the right side. All right, so there was about 35, 40 seconds. Go ahead and lean back. This side's gonna feel atrocious. Oh, because this is the QL or the TFL that got hit so hard. I'm just gonna breathe through it. When you lean back, try and keep your knee down. Don't let your knee rock up too much because then you're just taking away from the stretch. You can also squeeze that glute and it'll help drive your hip up and forward to get those hip flexors involved. This is about all my TFL can take right now just because I am so tender. But once I'm done with this, I'm going to start working on my calves and see how they feel. I'm really just kind of going through, scanning through my body to see what needs a little bit of love and what's pretty good. I'm definitely going to stretch out my chest. That is so tight. I'm going to stretch out my abs a little bit. And that might be it. Neck and shoulders. That's a big one for me, especially with those pike presses. If I don't have proper engagement through every single pike press that I do, my scalenes get hit a little bit, which, you know, thoracic outlet syndrome and all, it's no one's friend. Oh, this TFL, man. Just breathing deeply, enjoying my time here. There we go. All right, so there's 2 minutes. So now I'm gonna scan my calves, see how they are. I did jump rope a couple of days before, and sometimes that can hit my soleus. So start by putting your low leg on the foam roller, put your hands behind you, and just lift your body up. And then run the length of the calf, just scanning for places that are a little uncomfortable. You'll feel around, you'll find spots that are kind of knotty. You might feel some blood flow change in your foot. I'm feeling places in my gastroc, which is surprising, so my upper calf. Oh, right where my gastroc stops in my lateral low leg, so maybe lateral gastroc, possibly posterior tibialis. Oh, which is a little bit more medial. And then moving down towards my ankle, getting into just my soleus, that actually feels fine. So I might spend just a couple of minutes and hang out, roll up and down a couple times, no big deal. You can also release the other leg and just sort of wiggle your ankle and kind of massage a little bit. Sometimes that'll release some of the tension in there, no big deal. Grind it out a little, as long as it's not too painful anyway. So I feel like this calf is actually pretty good. My left calf is worse, generally speaking. So I might actually set my timer for my left calf and go ahead and do the 2 full minutes. Woo! As soon as I pick it up, I feel it immediately. This is uncomfortable. So I'm gonna, stop there, sit down, hang out for just a second. If you're unaccustomed to foam rolling, you do a lot of holding yourself up with your arms and shoulders and whatever. So you have to develop a little bit of strength over time in order to hold your own body weight up for as long as it takes. If you think about it, if I've done my calves and my quads, there's already 8 minutes of holding myself up, basically. So it takes a little bit of muscle development, strength development. Oh my God. I must have hit my left leg so fucking hard. It feels like, 2 different people from side to side. I do have a hip rotation. I rotate when I squat. I've got a lateral hip shift. I've got lumbar scoliosis. One of my glutes is significantly weaker. My left glute, obviously, is significantly weaker than my right glute. And so I've been working on that for the better part of the last year. It's coming along, but slow. Holy shit. It's really my soleus. It's not my gastroc proper. It's just my soleus is trashed. So once I finish with this, I'm just going to do a little body check, feel around, see what else is sore. I might do a light TFL stretch before I move forward, maybe just like a 30 seconds or 45 seconds on each side, just to loosen it up. I apologize if you can hear the lawn people in the background with their leaf blowers, whatever. Oh, it's nice to be cared for, have our shit clean all the time by not us. If you've ever done yard work, it's like rewarding and awful at the same time. 2, 1, nice. All right, so left leg is done. I'm just gonna kind of feel out my TFLs on each side. A good TFL stretch is actually to figure out which side you want to stretch first. You want to get in this kind of like kneeling position. Cross the front foot just in front of the back knee. Reach, it's a little bit of a balance. Reach up and over and, you might need a foam roller for balance. Kick your hip out, bottom hip forward and over for balance. And then push through the hip flexor because the TFL runs from here down. So you want to kick it forward, and then over to really get a good stretch on it. You can do this standing as well, but I prefer it kneeling because I'm lazy. So I'm going to hold this for about 45 seconds on each side, just real gently. I don't want to beat up an already beat up muscle. Once I do this, I'm going to start working on my chest just a little bit and then stretch out my abs, and I'm going to be probably about done for the day. So active recovery shouldn't take a long period of time. You shouldn't go to the gym and spend an hour and a half rolling around on the floor like eyeballing people listening to Enya, speaking from experience. I know, I'm such a goober. So there's 30 seconds right there. I'm gonna give it about 15 more seconds and call it on this side. My other side is gonna be significantly worse. All right, so there is 45 seconds on that side. So I'm gonna go ahead and get set up for the other side. This is gonna be awful. This is gonna be awful. I don't wanna do it. Oh, up and over, here we go. So this side is not only sore, it's incredibly tight as well. So again, all I'm doing is I'm kind of squeezing my left butt cheek, pushing my hip forward, and then kicking it out to the side gently. And then I'm incorporating this overhead reach in order to get my obliques in there a little bit and then increase the stretch. I'm not doing anything that feels unsafe or incredibly uncomfortable. Just doing enough that I feel like I'm putting a little stretch on a very sore muscle. Kind of feels good, actually, after sitting all morning, programming, scheduling, and all of that. And 2, 1. So there was 45 seconds on each side. Oh, my tender vittles. Ooh. We all go through days like this, by the way. If you've worked out for any length of time, you have awakened in the morning and just been like, oh, fuck. Well, this is how you deal with it when you feel like, oh, fuck. You don't go to the gym and be stupid and keep working out on sore muscles already. Just give yourself some grace. So here's what I'm gonna do for my pecs. My pecs aren't incredibly tight because I've been rolling them out for days, but they need that constant reinforcement. So I've got a stretch strap here. You can use a resistance band or a tube band also. I'm gonna grab, starting significantly wider than shoulder width, and I'm gonna go up and over. And I'm gonna put a significant stretch on the pec and come back. As you go through this, you wanna make sure, I'm gonna slide because there's a mirror right here. You wanna make sure that your shoulders are scooped forward as you come across and that your serratus anterior is engaged slightly. You don't wanna tuck your shoulders back behind you like this, because that just doesn't put you in a very good position. It's not smart. So scoop your shoulders forward, get your supraspinatus tendon out of the way, don't let it get pinched, and then come up and over that way. Kind of feels good after you go through it a few times. You can see too, when you really pay attention to yourself, you can see which side is a little more dysfunctional and which side has more pec minor issues, because that's the shoulder that's gonna scoop back and behind easier. Can't really see myself very well right now, but typically it's my right side that wants to really tuck back and behind. So I've been working to rehab my pec minor. So if I'm doing something like this, I might go through about 20 rotations back and forth. So this back, forth would be 1. And then I'm gonna grab at varying widths. So now that I feel a little looser, I'm gonna grab just a little bit closer. And this has no give like a resistance band would. So stretch straps are just a little bit harder to use, and you might get a little bit of shoulder tucking the closer in you grab. That would be okay. You just wanna make sure that it's not too bad. So, and of course you can play with it at varying places throughout the movement. I like to stop around the top, and I like to really play with that like overhead mobility area, contract my abs, keep them real tight, and then try to go through the full range that way. I definitely feel a little central nervous system activity from the movement. I can tell my chest is real tight. I'm a side sleeper, and so if you're a side sleeper, your chest is bound to be tight. The side you sleep on, the opposing side of your back is bound to be really tight. So if you sleep on your right side, your left side upper back is gonna be tight, and then your right side upper neck, shoulder is gonna be really tight. So just something to keep in mind. Play with it, feel around. So I don't know how many rotations I've done, but my chest is feeling pretty good. So what I'm gonna do now is stretch out my abs. It's not gonna be particularly cute, but I'm just gonna hang out for 2 minutes. You're welcome to join me, or you're welcome to cut the video or get in wheel pose if you like yoga. Hop into wheel pose and just chill. I'm gonna set my timer actually for 3 minutes because I desperately need this. 3 minutes. All right. So if you've got a stability ball, grab it, lay back, get it in the small of your back, Lean back, let your head dip, hit start on the timer, take your arms in a Y and your legs splayed out. So your whole body is in kind of a giant X from here. You're gonna feel a pretty big stretch on your abs. You're gonna feel a pretty big stretch through your hips. You're gonna feel a pretty big stretch through your chest. Take big, deep, diaphragmatic breaths. Man, I'm so tight. I can't believe it. I feel my pec minor like radiating pain from the nerve compression all the way down my arms. I feel abdominal pain from how tight my abs are, how tight my abs have been contracted for days and days and days and days. This is what comes with sitting on the computer for long periods of time. Your abs get tight. This fold zone right at the bottom of your ribs, right at your upper rectus abdominis, through your intercostals, your external oblique attachments, your costal fibers of your pec major, all of that just get insanely tight and weak. So I feel like shit. I feel like I'm having a heart attack. I get heartburn, acid reflux, GERD, you name it, all from sitting at the computer. I can also feel a stretch now through my internal obliques inside my hip bones here, which is that sweet V taper that guys get that's so hot. Once my 3 minutes is up, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna get another cup of coffee, program for my afternoon, and eventually eat some dinner, because I like to eat. I watched my video yesterday, by the way, from Real Time Hit 2, and those shorts made me look chonky. I was like, where'd all that belly fat come from? I'm not normally that fat, but I think I was holding some water from Easter dinner. I don't know. I'm just ranting. Don't forget your diaphragmatic breathing, no chest breathing. You should get some belly rise and fall. What have we got left? Oh, we got like 15 seconds left. It's perfect timing. Yay, that's time. So when you sit up nice and slow. Don't be a dumbass and sit up real fast and then pass out. And that is it. So that is, I don't know, we'll call it active recovery day 1 or real time active recovery day 1 or something. I hope you joined me for this whole thing. I don't know how long it is, but you know, we'll see later. And I'm obviously not concerned about heart rate or calorie burn. So that was active recovery for legs, abs, pecs. And I will see you for our next workout in a day or 2. Peace out, guys.